hello and welcome to Oh What a Marvel Hawkeye. This is the final episode. I am Dean Lewis and I'm joined to you. And just a little bit, but before I get there, behind the scenes, sometimes I get in from work like an hour and a half before I start the show. And that's a bit of a head fuck for me. I have to really prep myself as I'm walking home in the cold and dark here in the UK. But that is nothing compared to what this guy just did. You didn't see it before we started the stream, guys. He literally dove through a window and landed in that chair. How you doing, man? It's great to have you.
I'm doing good. I'm doing real good, man. I went on ahead, borrowed Kate's. She ended up letting me borrow her arrow, so I was able to just glide right on through my window and everything without any problems. So I was just, I just appreciate you guys
Perfect.
being able to have me back again, and also too, I told Kate before she let me borrow the arrow, hey, look, I have to make it for this show. So gracefully, she let me have her arrow rather than Clint because Clint is busy and everything. So it's just
Yeah,
good to be back.
he's not firing so many arrows this episode. I mean, there's enough. There's more than enough, everyone. But he does take a backseat when we get to the end. We get some good but we're gonna get to all of that hand-to-hand combat, those trick arrows, grappling hooks. We get all the toys come out of the play box for this final episode, as you would expect for a finale. However, before we get to any of that, there's the matter of last week's cliffhanger and a certain Mr. Fisk who has now entered the fray officially, which I'm sure we're all very excited about. To be honest, I was a little bit let down with how they brought him in last week. It's just like, really, all this build up and you introduce him on a phone screen. But I digress. This man walks into the beginning of this episode and it's like he never went anywhere at all. He just got older and meaner. There's the image. And he's got the classic, the white jacket, which it took him 3 seasons of Daredevil to get that damn jacket. And it's great to see him come in here looking like he walked off
Fresh.
the page. But he looks the same, but also it looks better somehow. I can't even quite put my finger on it. Maybe it's just the wizened age of D'Onofrio. Maybe he's had some time to ruminate on this and really, he clearly loves this character. How are you feeling? Kingpin comes in. What's it
Right.
doing for you?
Okay, so I wasn't here for last week's episode. As a matter of fact, I didn't even do an episode for my episode last week for this one because everybody was out of town. So basically, is this? I love the chemistry. Let me just go on and say this. I love the chemistry within the last episode last week with the sister of Black Widow and stuff like that too. I love the chemistry with them. I thought they were really good between Kate and her. But then you wind up seeing the Kingpin Easter egg and everything. I'm like, okay, it's nice, you know, but I liked all the other stuff before I got to this. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like we knew it was going to happen. We didn't know how it was going to happen. But yeah, was I excited? Yeah, I was excited. But I didn't like fanboy like I thought it was gonna be because of the fact that it was just the cell phone, and then also too with her mom. But seeing him being introduced into this episode now, this made me have goosebumps, to be honest with you. This was the way to do it.
This is great. Do you think, because I think that maybe last week they should have ended with just Kate looking at the phone like, oh my God, and then cut. And then this is when we just see him walk into the shot. And this was the moment that we get introduced to him. I think would have been more impactful, to be honest.
I agree. I felt a little bit lackluster seeing that in the last episode. I'm like, okay,
Yeah,
it was
definitely.
nice, but
and also it doesn't help that because of the internet, we basically kind of knew that it was probably coming,
right.
To varying degrees, depending on how like immersed in Twitter and the social media you are. But I think most people like doing shows like this, we basically knew it was happening. Probably not the
Right.
casual viewer so much.
Exactly.
Who doesn't appear to have a full grasp of the reach of the Kingpin is old Eleanor Bishop. She really does not seem to be. She didn't watch seasons 1 to 3 of Daredevil because she doesn't understand how dangerous this man is. She's just like, yep, you know what? I want to be out, and I've got material to blackmail you if you don't let me out. Like straight up. Like this is the same woman who said to Clint in episode 3, I believe, that he's a piece of shit. He let Natasha
Mhm.
die. So it tracks for her character, but she is not
She doesn't get it.
appreciate. She's not appreciating what she's getting into. Like if you've got an Avenger sitting in your living room, and that's not enough to tell you that you're way in over your head. You think you can just play a little game here, get your husband framed, and just sign a few papers here and there, and just move some money around, and that's going to be the end of it? No, 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 no. What are you doing?
Right. Because to be honest with you, I'm with you on that too though. I'm like, you're acting like you're just quitting a job at McDonald's. It's like and
Exactly.
Kingpin's your supervisor. It's like, hey, look, buddy, I don't like the way things are going over here in management. So you know what? I'm gonna go do my way, you go your way kind of thing. No, this is not like having a job at McDonald's where you can just have like a 7 to 5 job and
And then she
expect
threatens to blackmail Ronald
right.
McDonald. You don't do that.
No, no, you don't. Because come on, we're talking about Fisk here. We're talking about Kingpin. She's way over her head, for starters, and this guy is huge. I mean,
I
come
mean,
on.
yeah, it's not great. Like,
No,
to be honest, I was half expecting him to just put her through a wall or a table right then and there. Um, I'm pretty surprised that instead of doing that, the Kingpin is hiring or using Kazi. Is it Kazi? Kazi, the guy,
yeah,
the
Kazi.
tracksuit guy.
Yeah, that's Kazi.
Yeah, and Kingpin's apparently letting it throughout this episode. He's utilizing this guy to do everything because he's like, right, you got to go after Echo. Watch on this Eleanor. He's clearly been watching her anyway. You would assume. And then later on in the episode, he's like hiring or getting Kazi to be the snipers. Like, really, there's no snipers, and you had to have the second in command of the tracksuit mafia, and you could have had the world's highest ranked sniper elite hitman mafioso motherfucker, and we've got the second in command of the tracksuit mafia doing our hits for us. These really important hits, like taking out Avengers and everything else. But I digress. I don't want to I'm getting too ahead of myself. Um, we get some good stuff out of that character, but
Right.
yeah, Eleanor's in shit. She's fucked up, and she
Yes.
thinks she can just move on. And then we move on. What's the next scene? Remind me what the next scene is.
Then after
Where
that,
do we go?
that and everything, we wind up seeing that, you know, it's actually Christmas Eve when all this is happening.
Yeah,
So then, of course, we see Clint and Bishop. This is also another
they
thing
want
that
to.
was
Yeah, they want to attend the gala. It's the gala thing, right?
the holiday party. And try now. Here's the thing that I liked about this. I liked how it was orchestrated, where Clint is trying to protect everybody and things like that. Because I liked how they played into it. They actually had the LARPing people in there
Yeah,
and undercover. I thought that actually worked.
I was really happy to see the LARPers in this episode. Like throughout, I thought they were actually added a nice layer to the episode that there was a lot more wholesome and not as comedic, as you think it
Right.
would be. Like, so I enjoyed those,
To be
and
honest
that
with
was more of
you,
a payoff. Sorry, that was more of a payoff to me. Was that angle than having the costume, which I thought was a bit underwhelming. But go on.
right. To be honest with you, I felt like the tones were different. When you got it had more of a serious tone with Fisk, and then it kept that serious tone a little bit. And then once we get into the Home Alone making arrows episode, that's what I call a
That's the
scene
stuff
in
right
this. That's
there. Yeah, exactly what I was going to compare it to was the Home Alone scene. But I remembered the scene I forgot is Fisk talks to Echo as well, right? After he talks
right.
to um Eleanor, and it seems to me like there's a bit of a miscommunication going on there because Fisk is clearly like he wants her like dealt with, but I don't think she realizes that. She's just like, yeah, I'm gonna get away from this. You know, she's not being quite as flippant as freaking Eleanor,
No.
but she's still like, I want to get away from this. And it felt like to me like Echo wasn't really appreciating. Maybe it's because of they got the family connection that she thinks that she's kind of safer from that kind of side of things, and
Right.
she just genuinely doesn't realize that like she's going over too far. She's getting all this extra heat and attention embroiled up in the situation, and it's just becoming too much. So I
Well,
thought that was interesting. There's a nice contrast to the scene that we get at the end. But go on.
okay. So whenever I saw that scene play out, I was thinking the same thing, that she was probably thinking that, hey, I'm related to Fisk. He's my uncle. I work for him, but I think I can get some leeway because of the fact we're related and everything. And also, too, she's also deep in with Fisk as well. But at the same time, all Fisk cares about is one thing only, is power and money. He doesn't care about the implications that he's putting on his niece or anything like that. So, when you see that being played out, where Fisk doesn't really trust her because of the fact that Clint talked to her, and he doesn't trust her because Clint talked to her, and also, too, now she's coming to her senses that I could get other people killed, which is also what Kazi told her. And Kazi is not even backing her up now because he's more afraid of it's like when he's alone with her, he has all the power, all the control to talk to her. But with Fisk being around, it kind of just goes on ahead and just rolls up and
Yeah,
to nothing.
the Echo Kazi relationship really takes like a real 180 turn through from where we see them in episode two. Is it where we're first introduced to them to where we see them in this episode? Because I remember saying on this show, like I really loved like they had like there was tenderness. It seemed like there was real tenderness between them and a real like human connection. And to get to this point, and it's I don't know if it's just because things are getting heated and Kazi's actually just all business, and he's only close with Echo because he can communicate with her and get her to do stuff that they want done, or is he just a liar and manipulator, and then or does he genuinely have that connection, and then it's only like you say rolling up because he's the only person apparently in this whole episode other than Clint who appreciates the gravitas and the terror of Wilson Fisk. It's interesting, and I didn't quite get an answer to that
I feel like he's
throughout this
wrapped up into his
episode.
own ego. Yeah.
You think he just likes being like that right hand man to and that middleman between like Kingpin and Maya, and he just likes that he's got like what feels like a significant role in that organization, and that's where it ends for him.
I feel like whenever the boss is around, he shows respect towards the boss because that's who he is. But at the same time, you have it where when you're by yourself, you're not going to end up saying the same things that you said to your boss a few minutes ago when you're in private with somebody else. So
Yeah,
he has more leeway whenever he's by himself. I think it's more of the fact of a respect issue whenever he's around than
yeah,
anything, and that this is where his journey ends, is him just being the henchman to Fisk, and then she goes on her own journey.
because
And
yeah, he says later on in the episode, like at the end, he's like, I can't walk in both things. Like it's like all or nothing for me. This is the life that I have,
mhm. and
and
it's
and
and
she's
to go
saying,
on
come
that real
away with
quick.
me. Go on.
Sorry, sorry, I had a thought for a minute. But it goes back to the beginning with Echo, right, where she's trying to learn how to be in both worlds. So with him saying that I can't do both worlds, to walk the straight and narrow and also do the life of crime, is either one way or no way for him, and he can't
Yeah,
just walk away from it. And with Echo, she walked both paths. on something that he couldn't do. So it goes back to a
Yeah.
little bit of a foreshadowing of the first introduction into Echo's character, a little bit.
But she's saying like, "Come away with me, like we'll just go or whatever." Like it seems like she doesn't say that exactly, but it seems to me like that's the relationship they have. Like
Hmm.
he could have gone. I suppose it's just like indoctrination into like that kind of gang mafia. I don't know. I Spoiler alert. I've never been in the mafia, so I don't know exactly how this stuff works. But what I assume is that there's just this crazy, like religious loyalty going on, where he just, he won't leave that despite the relationship that he knows that he could have with Maya, that's already there, and it's pretty heartbreaking. But I do forget about that when Hawkeye suplexes him. So again, getting ahead, getting ahead. So we we were at the gala or the party thing, and again, Kazi's been hired as the sniper for whatever reason. I'm sorry, if the Kingpin not got Bullseye, would that not have been a great moment to have had Bullseye there as the
You're,
sniper?
to
I
me,
mean,
that would make more sense. Having Kazi there, I get the fact that you're a right hand man, but to do this level of a job, he's just a street. To me, he's just this. Let's see what I'm thinking of. The tracksuit mafia, the
it's the
leader of the
tracksuit
tracksuit.
mafia. The name, the clue is in the name. Like that tells you everything you need to know. And you're the Kingpin. This isn't so much a comment on like Kazi's character, but Kingpin, this is an Avenger who's well known across the universe for long range combat, and you're going to send just the convenient guy that you have lying around as your number one go to assassin. I don't buy it. And maybe Bullseye would have been too much in terms of like
True.
throwing in characters over.
Huh.
I'm not familiar with that. Um,
Me either.
but I do know that the four main actors playing the tracksuit mafia guys did recreate a panel from the comic book, and they posted the picture on Twitter, and that was pretty cool. There was the comparison. They're all standing there with like their weapons in various poses and stuff, and they recreated a panel from the Fraction and David Ayer. Is it David Ayer that drew that? I don't know. Google it, and also Marvel Disney credit and pay your writers and artists from the comics when you use their shit in the shows and movies. But anyway, none of that negativity from me. So I love Kate, by the way. Kate in this episode is peak goodness. She's and also that black dress thing that she has is pretty
Yes.
cool, and the costume reveal and all that stuff is really great. But like she really like it really comes like it kind of like the witty kind of awkward but enthusiastic plucky sidekick thing, and but occasionally having like these moments of like real heart, and like it all comes to a boil in this episode, and she really hits her stride. Clint's trusting her, they're working together, he even calls her his partner, like really feeling those moments. But then also when she's realizing like my family is now rolled up in this regardless of the Clint connection now, and also slowly learning about like Fisk and like all the bigger plates that are spinning here. Like, I think she handles it really well.
I think so
Because
too.
there's some really comical stuff as well that on paper probably shouldn't have worked with Yelena that we'll get to in a moment. But yeah, she really like all the best qualities kind of come out all like at the right times, in this one. And I say Hawkeye calling her she underplays the reaction of Hawkeye calling her the partner. I thought she was going to really, really ham that, or really they were going to make a thing out of it. But they really just they do that a few times in this episode as well, where they kind of just lightly skim over some really good emotional moments.
Mm. I
And
have to agree with Jess on that. The Ilana and Kate scenes were the best.
yeah, you know what? We got a new producer on board. Let's get into that stuff right now, because this stuff is a lot of fun. Not only have we got the side scrolling shot, which I love, where they're going through the rooms of the apartments and everything, and they're getting up to the different shenanigans, but also like the dynamic between them shouldn't work, because you've got Yelena, who's on like this personal death vendetta mission. She wants to wipe this fucker out, but she's like kind of being very flippant with Kate. And at first I was like, do I like this? Is this a bit weird that she's on this hardcore, personal mission and she's just joking around? But then that's just like, you know what? She's a Black Widow. She's trained to only hone in on the target, right? So the emotion doesn't come into the other parts of the equation. So when she's dealing with Kate or any of the other characters, it's just that element just isn't there in her. But until she's directly looking at Clint and dealing with Clint, it just turns on, right? Like a red room training thing, I guess. But go on.
Yeah. Okay. So here's the thing. Whenever I saw them eating macaroni together on the last episode, and
That
the
was
conversation
beautiful.
between them
Hot
was
sauce.
it was great, to be honest with you. I'm like, I want to see more of that. Women in power, conversation, smart, intelligent women, and talking and being smart. And like you said before, and everything, Yolanda is not going to go after someone that's not her target. But she wants to figure out, why is Kate following around Clint? That was her MO for getting to know Kate. And if she trusts Clint, why can't I trust Clint the way she trusts Clint? That's what I got out of it. So, go on. Sorry.
I was going to say, do you know what best embodies this dynamic with Yelena and Kate is the moment in the elevator, right? Because like I'm watching this scene play out, and I'm like, Yelena could just knock this kid out in a second, anytime she wants to. Why is she just letting her carry on following her and being a pest? And I'm thinking, this is getting a little bit silly in my head. But then when she comes in the elevator, I'm like, stop her, just don't let her come in the elevator. She just lets her come in anyway. And because she knows that any time that she tries to do a move, she's just got to move, and she just knows that they can flip it, twist it, and reverse it, or whatever the saying goes.
Right.
And she doesn't need to like knock her out or like incapacitate her or something. She does, it's unnecessary. And again, it just really summarizes that whole dynamic and that emotion of like, and she probably respects the hustle. She's like, man, I trained and got like whipped down and indoctrinated into the fucking red room by the Russians, and I'm pretty good at what I do. And this kid is just like, hopping along, skipping along, and she's doing not that bad compared to me. So there's definitely a little bit of respect there.
There
And
is.
I
There's like a
totally
mutual
bought
respect.
the relationship. I did not think I was going to buy this relationship. I loved the moments in the last episode that they was in, but given that we're at this point and we're kind of, at the crux of the story now, and the tension and the stakes are much higher, I did not think this stuff would work at all, and I was loving every second of it.
I was eating
And
this up, man. I'm gonna be honest with you.
yeah,
From the elevator scene alone, and then she's over there doing like an elf thing where she's trying to press all the buttons at one time.
yeah, that's so
And
good.
I'm like, this reminds me of Elf in so many ways. Yes, it could have been cheesy, but the way they play it off, like you said, and she's
Yeah,
looking at the corner of her eye, and Yolana is like, she's gonna try this again. Because she knows how Kate is. Kate is like a cat, if you think about it, always playing with stuff, doing different things,
landing
and
on her feet.
right, and she's like just looking, just this girl's gonna try it again. I'm gonna be ready. And
She
then she
knows.
tries it again. She slaps her hand away. Then she tries again and grabs her arm. The jacket, and of course, this is when Kate winds up doing that twirl where the jacket comes off, and Yolanda is just very,
That's
very impressed with her, like it was meant to happen. She goes, "Did you meant to do that?" She goes,
yeah.
"She's like, no." She goes, "No, that was
Yes.
completely accident."
No, I think she claims it. She tries to claim it. Did she or did she? No, I don't remember. But I love the moment. She like it was too perfect. And that coat, like, come on, Marvel, where's your merchandising team at? Get that coat going on. I know loads of people that would look good in that coat. Some that wouldn't, they would still buy it. So it's worth noting.
Definitely
Meanwhile,
worth
we've got
noticing.
Clint. He's further up the building. He's now bow ties off. He's got that Ocean's 11 look going on. Really wonderful stuff. He's trying to take out Kazi, and he gets him with the old gas arrow because we prepped all those arrows in the Home Alone scene. And I love the moment of Kate putting the labels on them
Me too.
because that needs to happen. Like, why was Clint not like, come on now, that's fine. But also, I don't want to be a stick in the mud here, but you can't read a label when a quiver behind your back. So how do you like? Are
And
they
it's not like you have
braille?
enough time to read it.
Are they braille reading it like with their fingers and like
I
I don't
think
know.
I think it's the feel of the arrow, maybe. Maybe they know their arrows. I don't know. It's I'll be honest with you, now that you
When a
mentioned it.
man loves an arrow. Sorry, don't give me a copyright strike. I swear. That's it. That's no more singing.
Okay. But I liked now that you mention it and everything too, it makes you wonder how do they know? But I'm guessing it's just the way that they just know their arrows, I guess. I don't know.
When
But
it's the right arrow, you will know.
right. Hawkeye love story. But,
When a...
but another thing I want to mention, and this is going back just a small bit, where they're having that fight in the different office areas.
yeah,
To be honest with you, I love the cam. I'm a huge fan of camera angles,
yeah.
and I love how this camera just pan angles, and you're going along for the ride like you're reading a comic book,
It was
and
beautiful. Yeah,
it's
exactly like
just
that.
beautiful. But as for Clint with the Ocean 11's look and stuff like that, I thought that was really cool on that. And I'm like, okay, so where's the reveal of the costume? Because you're wondering what kind of look are they gonna go for? And then you look at it and like this looks like something that you would get out of the fun jump when you get stuck to Velcro. I'm like,
Yeah. So we get to
it's
the costume. It's fine, but I mean, in this shot here, that's some lovely lighting we got going on there with a cool background and all the stuff. But in the episode, it's fucking nighttime. You can't even barely see that purple stripe and the purple, like the darker purple parts on the arms. Like he may as well just be wearing like black jeans and a black t-shirt for all I can see. And the Kate costume, maybe you know, I'm no expert on ladies' fashion, but it looked the same as the other one to
it
me. It
did.
looked
There
the
was like
same as
no
the
really
other
any
one.
difference.
So what was the point of the LARPers? And don't get me wrong, the LARPers really had a nice layer to this episode later on, or actually starting in this scene and then moving on throughout it, where they're like really helpful and just really wholesome. And I loved all their little moments, and it didn't feel silly or forced, when they're dealing with like crowd control and stuff like that later on. So that stuff was great for the LARPers, but it felt like the big payoff to that whole bit was like this silly costume thing that they were going to do, and they just bypassed that. The LARPers built or made really serious looking Avengers level quality costumes that looked cool, but I just didn't I just didn't feel the point or the need for it. Like it seemed like they were going to go the complete other way, you know, like the purple pants in the Incredible Hulk or
Right.
something like that. And we didn't need the costume change because it's not really a costume change. So that felt like wasted energy throughout the show. But it's a small thing. It's a really small thing. It really doesn't take away from this episode because by the time
No.
we were on that ice rink, I am not complaining about any fucking costumes. I am eating this shit up like a hungry hippo. Yes, exactly
Yeah.
that. Very Sith and Warriors 3 vibes, and but it was just wholesome. They were just moving people around. Yeah, they threw a few hits and digs in here and there when they needed to, but they wasn't, you know, just going crazy and trying to just like clothesline people for no reason. However, I'm going to talk about another character in this show because I've been a big proponent throughout this whole series of Jack is an annoying fucking idiot and he doesn't need to be in this show. But I did a 180. Not gonna lie, spoiler alert, everyone. I did a full 180 on Jack. Why do I like this guy, man? Is it just me?
No, I actually like Jack this to go around and everything
I
because he's
know,
over there.
right?
He's like, I've been, you know what? He's like us in a sense where, you know, we're all nerds and geeks in our own way, right? Jack resembles us in a sense. Now that we know that he's innocent, he doesn't come off as this weird guy anymore or anything like that. And then he has a sword, like flexing his muscles, showing that he's innocent. And then finally, it's like, oh, there's a fight breaking out. Well, I'm glad I brought my sword because I finally get to use it after all the way through 6 episodes.
He's an
But
eccentric
yeah,
hobbyist. That's all he is. But the problem was where we were kind of like being led to believe that he's more of this like villainous character. You're thinking, oh great, this is some villain who's just also happens to be a complete moron. But it just turns out that no, he's not a moron or a villain. He's just a dude, and because of just the prism that we were looking at him through, and like the normal tropes of like how this stuff usually works, we were like just ready to hate him before there was any need to hate him. So when he comes in saying about like Christmas parties and dancing and like just trying to have fun, we were judging him.
yep.
So we were all in the wrong. And
I was a
this
big
man,
critic of Jack. You know me.
I hated the guy, hated him. But it turns out that we are all Jack. So that's what happened there. And also, he backs it up with some pretty good sword moves, and he does take some falls down as well. And I believed it.
And then the back and forth with the little kid and him was really good too. Whenever you know, I was supposed to get your wine collection whenever you went to jail. He goes, well, good luck because I'm out of prison now and I'm innocent. He goes, well, there's always a next time. And then they're just smacked. And the chemistry between them was really good. The spoiled little rich kid in him was really good. Jack was really good, and I didn't have any problems with Jack this time. He didn't look like Wario from Mario or anything like that anymore to me. He was
I
just a guy who just like swords.
if I was to rewatch this series, which I don't know if I will, but I might, Jack would be one of the primary reasons for me doing that because I would want to see that I would want to enjoy his character now, knowing that he's just a harmless goof and he's not like got sinister undertones.
Yeah.
Whilst collecting illegal assassin swords, you know, and having weird auctions with questionable characters, and you know, also saying that I want to go dancing, like a party. Um, which you know, again, I want to go dancing like a party too, but you don't see me fucking announcing it dramatically
No.
on Marvel's newest Disney Plus TV series. Would I if they invited me? You fucking right, I would.
Yep.
But I digress. So we're on the ice rink.
The ice rink stuff is great.
Trick arrows are plenty. not disappointed with the arrow play in this episode. They don't overdo it because there's only so much you can do, right? And we saw like variations of like all of these arrows earlier on in the season, but they all kind of get put to like slightly different uses. Got some really fun ones. The magnet one is really cool, and Clint just like pinging one on the railing to take away all their weapons was great. However, I did have a complaint, small minor complaint. Again, I had this earlier on in the season. Is that the Tracksuit Mafia, their weapons just seem to change depending on what the scenario calls for. If you need them for close quarters combat, they've all got bats and crowbars. But if Hawkeye and Kate have got bows and arrows, then they've all got guns. And it's just very convenient to help stage the action. I get it, but also try and be a bit more subtle about it. I don't know how. I'm just throwing that out there.
I agree. I think it's just convenient. Oh, they have arrows. Well, just wait. I have guns. Oh, you're using fists. Guess what I got? I got people that can actually fight. And also, too, they're going to be carrying around bats. It kind of reminds me of something from the 80s.
But then when they're fighting Jack with the sword, they don't have the guns again. Like they kind of, then they've only got short range weapons. And it's just, okay. That's fine. I mean, the action is great, and I appreciate it. I just wish I wasn't so aware of that kind of stuff going on.
There's something else I wanted to talk about, though, too. Clint being up inside the Christmas tree whenever he falls down, and Kate's looking for him, and she goes, "Where are you at?" And he goes, "I'm right here." "What do you mean you're right here?" "I'm in the tree." "Oh, I'll help you." And then also, too, there's a little owl that's in there that's just like the cutest thing. And to me, I was like, "Oh, that's cute." And then all of a sudden you see Kate chop down the tree with the arrow. Yep.
What is the deal with the owl, Kate? I've got nothing against birds. I'm partial to the occasional bird, all right? But what people are freaking out about this owl, I'm seeing this picture of the owl going all over the internet. It doesn't do anything. Why would there be an owl in this tree with all the lights? Are they not nocturnal? They don't like the light? I'm not an expert, but I just feel like they're just trying to make the owl happen. The internet is just really trying to make this owl be a thing, and it's in like 2 shots of the fucking episode.
How much do you want to bet that Disney already has this ready to market as a pop or as a stuffed animal?
I guarantee you there's going to be an owl pop.
And you know what? That's going to be the owl pop. Is him holding the little van as a vinyl.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I suppose that's the payoff, right? Is that it takes off with, but I don't know. The owl is cute. It's fine. I don't hate animals. The owl from the tree. What is this? A nursery rhyme?
You see, I like the owl too, though. I mean, I thought he was actually okay. He was just hanging around until.
If you're an owl and you're in my Christmas tree, you're going to get a little frost in. I will come for the owl. Don't you worry about that. Moving on. Please don't report me to anyone.
The Animals Rights Society or anything like that.
This owl ain't got no rights. It was in my Christmas tree, therefore it gave up its rights when it became an intruder on my personal property, right? I know how this shit works. You get a warning shot. That's why I got double barrel shotgun. Is for a warning shot and an owl shot. And believe me, this owl will be saying owl. What is happening to this show right now?
I don't know. But let's get
please
like we
me
say
back.
here at Merc, stay on target. But it's all good, man. If you don't like owls, it's okay. It's perfectly fine.
I didn't say I don't like owls.
I'm just busting your balls. But anyways, But no, the ice hockey rink, owl free. So, so, but I like the. To be honest with you, man, I like the. I like the hockey. I'm broke. Okay. Okay.
Ice rink.
Yep. And but yeah, I definitely like the ice rink and everything because of the gadgets and stuff like that with the trick arrows. And then you're wondering what that dangerous one does.
Yeah. And Kate sliding past when Hawkeye's all like out of arrows, he's all in, caught with his pants down a little bit, and the music. Kate comes sliding in. I feel for those knees. Maybe that's why you need the costume, just for that knee coverage, because that is a mighty slide. And it's the most emotional slide I've ever been on. Quite frankly, that was a really good slide. That's all I've got to
That was
say
a
about
rock
the
star
ice rink.
slide. That was an
That was
awesome slide.
Yeah, that was Mark Wahlberg from the 1995
It was like Bruce
movie.
Springsteen sliding off the stage of the Super Bowl kind of slide.
It was glorious. And just
Yes,
the music generally throughout this episode. And they don't overdo it, with like the big score moments. This isn't really that kind of show. And they also don't overdo it with the like the Christmas stuff. Like it's worked in a little bit, but it's more like moody and orchestral for the most part. I thought they struck a really good balance with that stuff.
for sure. But
And
then
then
you want. Oh, sorry.
no, you're doing the segue yourself.
Oh,
Carry on,
no.
sir.
My bad. My bad. Sorry. Go
I don't even know where the next one is. I mean, what
Well,
else have we got left? Oh, so they get separated at this point, right? Because we get Yelena shows up, and also Maya is getting involved, and then I don't remember how Kate gets separated from the situation, but she ends up with Fisk.
oh yeah, that's whenever. Remember when Clint tells her in the ice rink, "Okay, you see that? That's actually your way out of here." So,
Yes,
so Kate winds up running up the stairs after they take out all the tracksuit mafia guys, and then of course it left him with Yelena and him fighting against each other. So
yeah.
yeah,
Which I thought was some of the weakest stuff in the episode, to be honest. And it wasn't with either of their performances. I felt like the writing was kind of lame. It was just, you killed my sister. No, I didn't. You're a liar. It was just very soap opera-ish, I thought. And then we get to this moment that I've been waiting for a long time, since the ending of the Black Widow movie, because I'm like, how the fuck is Clint going to explain what actually happened? Because he's going to have to, right? But it turns out, no, he doesn't. He literally says, look, you wouldn't believe if I explained what happened. Like, and at that point, you might as well try, but like, you might as well look, there's Thanos had the stones, and to get one of them, you had to do this. We had to do that, and she did this, right? And then
right.
she's either gonna carry on not believing you, or that's gonna just like take her so far aback that you're actually gonna get your moment to reason and sort this stuff out. But Clint doesn't do that. Do you know what he does instead? He does the secret whistle, and it solves everything because he knows the whistle, the 1 or 2 note whistle, and that's and if he knows the whistle, he could have done that 3 episodes ago.
Well,
If that's all it took.
I'm gonna be honest with you. I felt the same way you did. I'm like, come on, she wouldn't believe you. Yolanda just came back from the dead, basically.
Yes,
Yes,
exactly. It was
that's
a
what I was
Martha
thinking.
thing.
But let me just say this. I thought for sure he was going to mention the stones. I thought for sure he was going to mention Thanos. I thought for sure he was going to say, hey, look, I was trying to stop her. She sacrificed herself so that way you can come back. and everything, but he
Yeah.
doesn't even know that she came back or anything like that because of the blimp. But she sacrificed herself so that way she can bring everybody back. And also too, she had to fall off a cliff and sacrifice herself to do it. And I was trying to stop her, but in the process of stopping her and everything, she was the stronger one than I was. So therefore, she had to sacrifice herself. Another thing too is this, and okay, I don't know if you're gonna believe me. Come on, she just came back from the dead with the blimp of the blimp, and you're gonna tell me that she's not gonna believe you,
She's got to
especially
be
with alien
aware.
invasions.
Most people have got to be aware of like the basic principles of like the Thanos situation, because like there would have had to have been like official statement and stuff made about it, and the remaining Avengers would have had to have like reported, okay, so he got this device, you needed the 6 stones, and it gave you the ability to control the universe, and he made half the universe disappear. Like, there's got to be some like byline rundown version of this that the public would get, and even not the public, but Yelena, she would have intel. You would. It's not. It shouldn't be that much of a stretch to explain this stuff, because
Right.
they would have known. There would have been news footage of like the Black Order and Thanos and all that stuff happening, and then obviously this this guy shows up, and then a few hours later, half the people disappear. Like, pull it together. Come on, it's not that crazy. But
No.
apparently, you don't need to say any of that. Just give it a little whistle. And I wish that I could whistle, because I would have nailed that moment right there. But I
I can
digress.
whistle, but I don't know the song good enough to do it. So
Don't encourage me, please. Do not encourage me.
plus we don't want
Because
to get a copyright claim either
we
from
we get
Marvel.
we get enough musical number later on in this episode, which we will get to in a moment, because all that did rub me the wrong way.
Okay.
And maybe that's what it's supposed to do. Which
Yeah, I know what you're
anyway.
talking about.
So then we've got Hawkeye dealing with soap opera drama in one corner, and then in the blue corner we've got Kate and Fisk in a toy shop, and this stuff is great. And also, Fisk is now in his third outfit of the episode. He evolves like a fucking Pokemon. He starts out in the white jacket. Josh, give me the white jacket. We do not have the white jacket. There it is. Oh, son. So he goes from this look, then about halfway into the episode, he replaces the black shirt with a Hawaiian shirt. So that's stage 2. And then by the time we get to this scene, it's now a long white jacket instead of the regular white jacket, and the Hawaiian shirt, and we got a hat going on, and it's the final evolutionary stage of the Fiskmon, Pokefisk. We'll work on that. Get the marketing team on it, Josh. So, and we really go hard to say, like, this is a powered up version of this character, where you're gonna hit him with cars, you're gonna fire arrows into him, you're gonna blow him up. This dude is a legitimate tank, and he can also, will pick you up and throw you through a wall, or just like kick you and you'll just fly across the street. It is incredible, and they managed to amp up the cartoonishness of the whole situation, but also because D'Onofrio's amping up his performance as well, and he knows this character, he's more scary, and one does not detract at all from the other in the slightest. And it is an absolute thrill to watch this guy on screen anytime that he's in this episode, which is more than enough. Some people might say we didn't get enough, or some people might be a little bit disheartened with how we end this situation. So after a nice little run in with Kate, he now has to deal with Maya. Meanwhile, Kate is putting away her own mother in prison. And Kate's like, yeah, that sucks. I love your mum, but yeah, this is what you did. You're going to let me fire arrows and be a superhero? and you're then going to go off and join the fucking mafia and be a prick, then what did you expect to happen? I don't feel bad for the mum at all, and I feel like she still genuinely does love her mum, and that was a tough balance to put out, because she's not like a vindictive, like, yeah, I got you, motherfucker, you're in jail now, I'm a superhero. Like, she's really learning those lessons of, you know, sacrifice, and not just like sacrifice of your own body and risking your life, but there's deeper personal sacrifices that comes with it, and she takes it all in stride, which is really nice to see. On the other side of the family spectrum, we have, welcome back by the way, we have Fisk and Maya in the alleyway, or in the street. I don't know if it's an alleyway, but they're having words, and we are not happy, even though she's family. And again, like, it still felt to me like it. I'm not sure if it was obvious to her at this point. Like, Fisk is done with you, Maya. Like, you've gone too far. He wants you out of this. You're not just gonna like talk the Fisk off and be done with it and walk away from the situation. And you're certainly not going to kill him,
No,
are you? They wouldn't do that, would they? They wouldn't build us up to the introduction of some of the Netflix characters finally in the MCU proper, and then kill them off screen. They wouldn't do that, would they, internet? What do
no.
you think?
Here's the thing with that, and one of my friends goes, Josh was actually having a conversation with one of my friends about this scene, and he said that he thinks that because of the comics and everything, that he's still alive, and of course in the comics she winds up blinding him. Exactly. And
Uh-huh.
you see, another thing that I was thinking of was this: there's no reason to be upset, because I had a feeling that they didn't do away with him, because it would be wasteful to have D'Onofrio only in Francis D'Onofrio in this episode for one time, and just to bring him back for
Yes.
one time and then get rid of him. No,
Especially given other developments that may or may not be happening in other movies and TV shows in the MCU. They
right,
wouldn't do this.
right,
You know what I
and
mean?
right, and I also want to make out. I know that I didn't get a chance to because I was having some computer problems or whatever, but the scenes inside the store. I know, right? It's like they don't want me to talk about Hawkeye or anything, but I like the fight scene in the toy store. I thought it was really good. It was really built up really well. Then of course, whenever Kate winds up making it to where he can't get out of the store, and I thought for sure she was gonna kill her. I thought that was the biggest thing that my friend was pissed off about. To be honest, I'm like, is she gonna make it through this? And then finally, you get the fight sequence outside on the sidewalk. Of course, you wind up seeing the Conjuring woman run, Eleanor run Fisk over with the car, and of course he's knocked out and back inside the toy store he goes. But then of course,
Relentless.
then after that happens, you wind up seeing Kate looking at her mom. Sirens are going off around them because the cops are coming to arrest Eleanor, and she's like, "Really, you're gonna do something to this to me on Christmas Eve, or on Christmas Day?" And the thing that I liked
What a
about it
piece
was,
of shit, by the way. Like,
yeah,
you haven't done enough, and you have to evoke Jesus' birthday to try and help your case. Like, she's putting her own mother in prison. She doesn't give a fuck if it's Christmas or
right,
Easter or Hanukkah or
right,
fucking Good Friday. It doesn't matter.
right.
Okay. Like, that was a grasping at straws, desperate move from Eleanor, and it did not make you look any better at
No,
all. Chump.
no, she was just trying to save her own ass to make her daughter feel guilty. That's all it was.
Exactly. Chump
And
move.
I like how you can definitely tell Kate does feel bad that she's having to do this. But at the same time, what choice does she have? Her mom put her up to this position, in this position. So therefore, she has no choice but to arrest her, give the cops
And as she
permission to
said
arrest her.
earlier, you've got to be brave in all senses of the word. Like, and she lives up to her own, speeches that she's given throughout this whole show, and her, like, little moral, like, ideals and stuff. And
Mhm.
she really does put her money where her mouth is, and it just, really. vindicated the character. Not that she did vindicating as such, but just really cemented like the core of this character in a place in the MCU, and she'd be really really excited to see if they do Young Avengers. You know, I I might even put Kate as the leader of that team, depending on who ends up in that team, if that's something that they do. But yeah, she really grabbed the little corner of the MCU and our hearts. So good stuff. And all you got to do is put your own parent in jail.
Yep. And that's a Hallmark card for
Heartless.
you. But yeah, I thought that Francis D'Onofrio did a really good job as Kingpin. He didn't miss a beat. He was born to play this role. Then, of course, like we were talking about with going back over with Echo and him, he wants her gone because of the fact that he feels like that she's a threat. And of course, we wind up hearing the gun go off. But like I said before, for them to get rid of him, to be honest with you, it'll be a discredit to Francis D'Onofrio as an actor.
There's just no way they would do that.
No.
They are more than aware of the damage that would cause, and we're seeing it because some people actually think that that's going to be it, and no way is that it. And I don't think they're going to do the blind Kingpin from the comics. I think that's a little bit too much of a pastiche to work on screen. I think they definitely homage that moment in the panel that we looked at, but I don't think they're going to do that. I think Fisk says something to her and she just shoots somewhere else, and they go their separate ways, or figure things out some other way, or leave that as a cliffhanger for this Echo show if we're going to get that, or maybe we see some other. If Echo gets a show, I think for sure the opening scene of that show, we see what happens in the rest of this scene. I think that's a given.
Would make sense, too. Yeah. But here's the thing: I wouldn't mind seeing Kingpin being on the sidelines a little bit of the Echo series as like a prequel into her life, and seeing
they could go that way.
Which is something I would like to see, but also to her having her own adventures with the flashbacks of Kingpin, and then of course seeing what she's doing after she fires that shot. I think that's going to be the opening scene where we wind up seeing the events after that happens.
Yes, and also we all want to see this new version, new and improved Kingpin 2.0 interact with hopefully maybe a new and improved 2.0 version of a former nemesis that he had in a TV show that may or may not be a thing that opens up possibilities down the line.
I would love to see that.
Go and see whatever Marvel movie is playing in theaters right now. Everyone,
I need to see it, to be honest with you.
But that's all I'm going to say. Just everyone, do your research, and we'll have another conversation later. Don't hit me up on the Twitter. I'm not wrapping up just yet. We'll go for another 1 minute or so because Hawkeye goes back to the cabin with Kate and the dog in tow. Of course, they're there with him. That's no surprise in the car there. We know that's happening. And we got presents. We've got a watch. We finally get the mystery of this watch solved. There's the watch. And I didn't even pick up on, I was still confused after this episode. Like, what was the fucking point of the watch? And Josh explained it to me before we started the show that is, in fact, Agent 19 is where the 19 comes from. And that is Mockingbird. So we are now, I guess, confirming that Linda Cardellini has been Mockingbird this whole time, or was Mockingbird at some point in the MCU, which I don't know exactly how I feel about that, but it makes sense. Mockingbird was married to Hawkeye in the comics, but it's a different character in the comics entirely, and the Linda Cardellini character was a original wife character for Clint in the movies. But now we're retroactively saying that she was in fact Mockingbird. And what does that mean? Why do we need to? Is she gonna jump back into the action and rejoin Shield that doesn't exist anymore. They're going to go on adventures and leave the kids with Kate. Like, what is the point? I don't know where that goes, but I'm interested. Are we going to get a season 2?
It might lead into Secret Invasions, maybe, or somewhere around that line.
Yes. And again, I said this to Josh before the show, Mockingbird and Hawkeye relationship has a very spicy part to play in the Secret Invasion storyline in the comics. I don't know if we're going to get that because we're getting Secret Invasion as a TV show, so it's not going to be like a movie Endgame level event, which that storyline could be if they wanted to. But then, we've got Hawkeye, we got, Academy Award nominee Jeremy Renner and Linda Cardellini on a TV show. So maybe they'll both be in the Secret Invasion, and that will kind of will act as like an Avengers of the TV shows, and we'll get all the different TV show characters appearing in that. We know we're getting Nick Fury in that. We're getting Maria Hill, Kobe Smulders, and stuff. So I'm really excited for that storyline. This show doesn't directly set that up, but maybe you read between the lines a little bit. That's what we're getting, and it's lovely to see Kate with the family. She just fit right in. It might be a little bit weird. If I come home to my wife and be like, yeah, I've got this 18, 17-year-old girl hanging out with me, and also we have a dog together. It's like a whole nother life. It's not weird.
Yeah.
But when you're an Avenger, the rules change. That's all I'm saying.
You just get a free pass.
You only to be fair, not any other kind of free pass. You're not doing that. Maybe season 2. Maybe there's a time jump. Maybe that works. But for now, we got Mockingbird, Agent 19, and that's a bold watch for an agent to be wearing. But again, that's fine. Any final thoughts on this series as a whole, though?
Only like 3 out of the 6 episodes. I like this one and the one that we talked about before with the the end credits scene.
Good point. Let's talk about that. Just going to put my arm and lean while we talk about this credit scene. You got anything overall to say about the 3 of the 6 episodes that were good? Or is that just how you feel 50-50?
That's how I feel, to be honest with you. Just 3 of the 6 episodes that we geeked out over. This one, the Toy Store episode, and then there was one other one that I liked, and that was it.
Yeah, I liked all the episodes, and this last episode definitely recontextualizes how I look at a couple of the characters. So maybe it's worth me watching it again. Maybe I'll like the episodes that I didn't like as much. Maybe I'll like those more now. I would still put this show. There's a lot of people been ranking the MCU projects of the whole year on Twitter. I think this show as a whole still probably is in the middle to lower half if it was going to be ranked. But as far as the end credit scene, I'm sitting there and I hated the song when they did it in the other episode.
Me too.
You're kind of supposed to hate it, and it's supposed to be corny as shit, and that's fine. So I'm like, okay, what's the point here? And I'm watching, I'm like, man, I really hate this song, and the longer version is even worse than the regular version that we had. But I'm assuming there's a point. Why am I still watching this? What the fuck am I doing? Why am I still watching this? I was praying that they were going to do a Spider-Man 3 thing, right? And we were going to zoom out into the crowd and we were going to see Fisk and he was going to be sitting there watching the musical, which again would have been horrible. There's no way that Wilson Fisk would go to this because that is a man of art and culture. That man goes to the opera. Okay,
right.
He does not go to shit like this. But I still would have liked to have seen him there because it would have meant that there was a point to this fucking scene. But they, like in Family Guy, they started doing this joke where they would do a cutaway gag to like a cheesy song or a stupid music video, but then the whole gag would become, we're just going to play the whole fucking music video and it's going to go on forever, and that's the gag, and it's not funny, and I don't like those shows really. That's what this felt like. It was just a troll cutaway gag, and we think it's funny because we know that it's going on longer than it should, and it's just
Right.
really funny to the writers, but not to anyone else.
Trolling
That's what
us
this
as
felt like.
fans is what they're doing.
And it's like this was a solid. This is a really solid show. It didn't blow anything out of the water, but it didn't fuck anything up. It didn't underwhelm. It hit all the things that it needed to hit, and it was a damn entertaining show for the holidays. They didn't, yeah, give us something, or just don't give me an end credit scene. Just it was unnecessary. It just felt cheap, and it really kind of, I don't know, it didn't end me on the mood that I wanted to end this series on, which was, wholesome, little bit introspective, entertaining action adventure show, and that's the taste you want to leave in my mouth at the end of it. And I could not do that all day. Tell the people where they can find you.
Okay, so you guys can go on ahead, follow me underneath Movie Lovers, TV Lovers Unite on Facebook, underneath the same brand name on Instagram and Pinterest as well. If you guys want to, go on ahead and donate to my page. All you have to do is go to GoFundMe.com/Movie Lovers Podcast. Donate $5 over there. If you guys can't, I understand because of the holidays, but going over to our YouTube channel, like, subscribe, do all that other stuff. Click that, smash that little bell in the bottom right hand corner to allow you guys to know whenever I have something new coming out. Tonight, 8 o'clock Central Time, 9 o'clock Eastern Time, I'm going to be finishing up my Hawkeye series because I didn't get to do episode 5 or 6 last week. So we're actually combining the two of them. So we're doing that. And then tomorrow night, I'm going to be doing a Christmas review of Fat Man, which is going to be at 8 o'clock Central Time, 9 o'clock Eastern Time over there. And then Friday, we're just taking the Christmas Eve off, and we'll be back on Monday. But if you guys want audio only podcasts of our show, you can get that wherever you guys get your major podcasts from. Of course, go on ahead, follow me under TikTok underneath Movie Lovers Unit 0, and then of course on Twitter at Movie Lovers Unit over there. And then of course, if you guys want to, go on ahead and reach out to me. If you want to be on the show, if you're a sponsor, go on ahead, go over to movieloversunite@gmail.com, and that's how you can reach out to me. And that's everywhere that you guys can like, follow me, and all that other good stuff on social media.
All of that, guys. Hope you wrote that down. Do it all right after this. You will find me on Dean Lewis 2099 on Twitter. You can go and get me on Instagram. I believe it's the same thing. Find out, have a search. And if it's not me and I got it wrong, follow that person too. Give them some love. Also, I'm going to be rolling on with this channel into next week. Is it straight away next week, Josh? We're going to be going into Boba Fett when that starts. So that's going to be a whole lot of fun.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is.
Next week, is it Wednesday? Or is it Friday?
Yes, it is. It's on Wednesday.
Boom. There you go. See that synergy right there. That's the kind of chemistry you can come to expect here on the Mert with the Movie Blog channel. And we hope to see you and Boba Fett and all of that good stuff in a galaxy far, far away. Hope you've enjoyed checking out Hawkeye with us every week, and we will see you checking out a different show on a different week. And have a great Christmas, everybody. Try not to ruin your families with alcohol and arguments. Peace out.
Peace.